Hello again, guys. It's me, the Piano Piper. And I'm coming back to you today to share with you the first smoke in the birthday gift from my wife, the Savinelli 614 Alligator. I've got it loaded up with a bowl of Hobbit Swede, which is like a cherry vanilla blend. And once I get the pipe lit, I'll tell you why I chose this tobacco. So, I chose this blend mainly because it's the only cherry blend that I have currently in my cellar, or in my stash of tobacco. And I'd like to share with you guys a little story about how I started pipe smoking, what led me to it. I'll keep it as brief as I can. Um, so it all started probably not long after I got out of high school. I was playing the piano for my family's restaurant. I used to play dinner music in the background. And this older couple, probably in their late 60s, early 70s, came in. And after dinner, they approached the piano, introduced themselves, and asked me if I would like to play at their home 2 nights from now, um, for a dinner party they were hosting at their home. I didn't have much else going on other than playing at night at the restaurant, and I had a couple oddball jobs here and there, and I detailed cars on the side at home. So yeah, I'm available. So practiced for a few days. I went up to their home and was met by a butler, I guess you could call him, who welcomed me into the home. It was a 52-room mansion. I'd never seen anything like it in my life before. Probably never will see anything like that again in my life. Um, I played the piano for probably 3 hours. And he was walking me back to the car, the guy, the older gentleman that hired me. And he said something about my car. It was a 1992 Cadillac DeVille. That was my first car. I love that car. That's a story for another time. How I acquired that car is pretty interesting. So he noticed the car was spotless, and he asked if I like cars. I said, yeah, absolutely. It's my second love, other than my girlfriend at the time. So he asked me if I wanted to see his car collection. So I said, yeah, sure. So he took me into this building. Turned the lights on, and the walls were lined with neons, the old neon signs from the 30s, 40s, 50s, all the old advertisements, traffic lights, stop signs, you name it. The old music, like the barbershop quartet music, was playing. He had 120 cars in his collection. I was expecting 5 or 10. So I was just taken away. I could have spent forever in there. Looked at all the cars. He had some serious cars. Uh, he had a couple that were owned by Frank Sinatra. He had Babe Ruth's 1941 Lincoln Zephyr convertible. Norma Jean Baker's 1953 Cadillac Eldorado convertible. For those of you who don't know who that is, that's Marilyn Monroe. He had all the documentation showing that Joe DiMaggio bought the car for her as a gift. I mean, just unbelievable collection. Uh, Bob Hope's, one of Bob Hope's Eldorados as well. Just didn't know anything like that existed in my hometown because none of this you could see from the road. Um, it was just another world. So he hired me to clean his cars. I became his caretaker for his collection. I used to drive him and his wife around to places. I'm not going to name them. I'd rather keep that private. I'm sure you guys can understand. I don't work for them anymore. I haven't worked for them for quite a few years now. But anyway, I respected privacy. So he used to smoke a pipe. In his study or in his library, he'd be reading a book, and he'd have the pipe going. The fireplace was crackling and popping with a small fire going. The oldies music was playing, and you could smell it. It would just permeate the entire home, even as big as it was. After he'd smoke a bowl, you could tell he'd been smoking some cherry tobacco. So I I started to fall in love with the pipe because of that. And one day I commented on the aroma that would leave behind. He ended up giving me a couple Dunhill pipes. And he gave me um, some cherry tobacco. Um, I believe it was Admiral's Choice. It was like a clear bag of it. It had a big label on the front. I think it was like a cherry Cavendish or something. But anyway, that's why I chose Hobbit's weed, because it's a cherry blend as well. I think cherry vanilla. But it has that same room note. It's so comforting. Well, coming days, with him giving me those pipes and that bag of tobacco, I burned my tongue off. I had no idea how to smoke a pipe. I didn't know anything about dry time. I didn't know anything about a tamper. I didn't know anything about the the 3-pack method. Nothing. But you got to start somewhere, right? Eventually, he gave me some tips because I asked. I had questions. Well, from that point on, I didn't stop. I just fell in love with it. Uh, for everything as fine as he had in his life, uh, I'm surprised Admiral's choice was his choice of tobacco. I guess you could call it a codger blend. I think that's all he ever smoked, at least in the time that I worked for him. And I could follow that smell anywhere. I used to light the pipe up and I'd be riding around town in my Cadillac with the Dunhill hanging out of my mouth and that cherry tobacco going. I just thought I was the coolest thing going, I guess. And eventually I got the hang of it and the tongue bite diminished. He helped me out with some pointers. Got a couple tampers, some better lighters, and I don't think I've smoked Admiral's Choice since. I smoked that whole bag, and then I went on to other blends, cheap over-the-counter blends, because I didn't know anything about the finer tobaccos that we can get today. So I was just buying whatever was available in the drugstores or the smoke shops, Captain Black, things like that. But that's my story, guys, of how I got to know the pipe and got to fall in love with it. I'm grateful to him for that, for helping me get started on this journey, this hobby. It's a great hobby. It's a great pleasure. And it's created great family and friends here on the YTPC. I'd like to hear your stories, guys, of how you got started smoking a pipe. I know some of you have been sharing in the past days. I figured I'd add my name to the list. I can't find those Dunhill pipes he gave me for the life of me. I don't know what I ever did with them. But I know I smoked the hell out of them. It's just something about the pipe, as we all know, that's so nostalgic. Um, and being around all of those cars at the time when I started smoking, his collection was like the 30s, 40s, and 50s cars. Plus, I mean, he had new cars, his daily drivers, Bentleys and all that stuff. Um, but there was something about being around those old cars, the old music, and the pipe. It's just like I'm an old soul that should have been born in that time rather than now. But all of us here on the YTPC are trying to keep that alive. Well, enough of my yakking. I just wanted to share that with you. By the way, this pipe smokes like a Savinelli should smoke. The draw is incredible. The smoke is cool. This is a beauty of a pipe. And if you guys don't have a 614 shape, I highly recommend you get one. Well, guys, I'm going to sit here and finish my pipe and my cup of Earl Grey tea. I hope you enjoyed. Hope everybody's well and safe. And as always, keep the pipe warm. Take care.